Hello, beautiful souls. I am Yuki and I'm shooting this video from Rome, Italy, where Esoteric Services is now located. As you can see, it's a wonderful spring day. There is a lot of light reflected upon me and upon you and upon my wall. It's all very white, and it's just a very great day today, and it feels like the summer is going to kick in soon. So while I discover the positivity of the outside world, I wanted to connect you with the two energies of ego and hope, or better, connect you to one and disconnect you from the other. The ego is a term that originally and literally meant I, because it's a Latin form for the pronoun I, me. So ego, or in Latin, ego. So in psychology, it later had a positive connotation, meaning to be ego-centered, centered in your ego in this way, to be intended as centered in your persona or in yourself, or how the self is discovered. With the somehow and somewhere means modern psychology sometimes employs one of the many means that you have to heal someone, to talk about reality, just focuses on the mind. There are some angels that focus on the mind, like the angels of Mercury, but even there, it focuses on other people too, and other means. So, when psychologists today mention the ego, they usually interpret it as being healthy in your own self and being selfish in a new and acceptable way, whereas the spirit always conquers the matter and always conquers the mind, as the mind is lower than the spirit. And God created these many reflections of His grace and many angels and things in life. So sticking it to simply psychological terms, sometimes it's just like eating a nice steak. You like steaks, but you want to eat something next to it that's actually more healthy, such as vegetables or water that gives you comfort and peace. So the mind is eased, but then the spirit suffers, so we have to get deeper. Although in Jungian psychoanalysis, Carl conquered the world of the esoteric, and he witnessed that, for example, there's many parts of us that show our true self, which he normally called that in German, our true reflection. Could be the reflection of the psychoanalyst, or reflection of God. Depends who you're seeking wisdom from. Or it could be, and by the way, God invented psychoanalysis too, just the way that sometimes could be reminded. And absolutely, there's doctors that have incorporated their wisdom in mental arts or sciences into angelic worlds, such as Doreen Virtue, that has a PhD in psychology, but at the same time discovered that, although a great subject that I was even tempted to study in college, but it somehow limits you. It doesn't save you in the end. So this is preview, and as Louis Hay says, we have to acknowledge our true self before we can acknowledge the true self of others. So, as psychologists say, your tranquility comes before other people. In this sense, the ego that shouldn't you have that day, or your own peace has privilege, because Jesus could not have healed from a place of war, not peace, if that exists. If he was sick, he couldn't have healed. If he was blind, he couldn't have given sight, and so on and so forth. So you have to be healed. Same reason why you are not contacting a psychologist that has a mental disorder or a wrong or non-spiritual view of reality, because they will automatically affect the way you see things too. In the same fashion, if Lucifer came down from the heavens like Jesus, like Rudolf Steiner kind of thought that these two figures were really similar, and if he came down from the stars to heal us or to save us, then he couldn't have done it, because he's not healed and he's not saved in his own self. So he might not have to practice or have black magic powers at all. So the star of the devil is the star that points downwards, which, if you look at the sky, doesn't exist, as he shouldn't exist, but in some way the Lord is so merciful that although he could have either anointed him for what he did, or he could have destroyed his very soul, but because prodigal son always returns, he wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, if you will, or he just loved him a little bit still, that he thought, you don't have a degree, you cannot get a good job in a prestigious university, can't go to Yale, as I was dreaming for you. But after all, you can be a janitor, and why don't you, when you can't go to the Hilton or Sheraton hotels, but you can definitely take this lodge in hell, and it's worse than a hostel, and but it serves you well from what you're worth, not for what you were worth, or not for your potential originally, but for what you are now. So God he knows that's not going to happen, but would expect or would hope that Lucifer would return, just like you hope that sometimes the serial killer that he didn't kill God, obviously, otherwise you and I, Lucifer, will be dead. But the serial killer who slayed, say, 15 people to death, and what about, if he understood what he did and he repented? Jesus and God sort of share that, it's not even a dream anymore, but that chance that someday he could understand that after all, he could have even greater powers if he followed the one who created and loved him first, and the one who cried first for his loss. So the ego, in truth, is something that strangles you and constrains you into something that is non-existent. So that's the charm, if you will, the illusionism of the devil that he creates. the non-existent terrible fantasy, and he puts you in there. You haven't chosen it, but he puts you in there. And unless you come out, and to come out, you just have to say, fuck off, and you move on, and you don't even need sometimes an exorcistic, can only think of the term in Spanish, oración, an exorcistic, say, invocation or prayer. You just need to tell him off, and seems like a joke, tell him to go to hell, and that's where it all about. So, hallelujah. Today we will learn that the ego, which is the New Age term for those that want to call the devil, but it's permissible, it's not a blasphemy to say the ego. The ego also comprehends part of some things that are not just the devil, so it's acceptable. So it's like saying the universe for God or life instead of saying Jesus, or all these terms that get to the wider audience of people after Christianism is the most widely practiced religion. So let's not be afraid to call love with its first name, because fear is what blocks us from experiencing joy. So when you're waiting for something, for some type of response from a friend or something, and then you can have two types of attitudes. You can have the ego energy prevailing, where when you say you're hyper assertive, you say, you know what, I haven't done anything bad to that person, so I'm not doing anything. I'll just call him names, and all he has to do, he must reply to me because I deserve it. And like, do you pray? Do you believe it? No, I don't. I don't. But I'm better than anything else. Why don't people bow down to me? So that's the construction of the ego. It puts you on a pedestal that it's not even real. And then when you hit your forehead, when, as they say, the shit hits the fan, and it comes onto you, you realize that the pedestal didn't avoid you taking that stuff on you, but it just made it happen. So don't come from a position of fear or fear energy or ego. Come from a position of love. And as Gabriel once told me when I first meditated with him years ago, and he appeared to me, and surprisingly he said, I am the angel of forgiveness. So the angel of hope. When you have hope, you have everything. Hope creates faith, which creates prayer, which creates magic, which creates result, which ultimately creates you or reinforces you. The ego or fear is not part of you, as any doctor would say, but the ego, part of you is your soul. And then they're putting your soul out as it doesn't exist as scientists, and they're putting it the ego. So they're doing a reverse type of Luciferian exorcism when they take the Holy Spirit out of you, because they can't see it, but they can certainly see your brain and your thoughts. They can see them. So they're the ones that exist, and especially they can see the effects that the thoughts have, but they can't control them. So I think that a lot of these mental illnesses are misdiagnosed sometimes, but that's another opinion that I have. And then there's the law of God who created everyone healthy, and there's the opinions of people. And every doctor is entitled to his, and I praise those doctors who really heal the mind or the body, as that's possible. But God is the doctor of your soul, so have hope as hope readdresses you on your path to Him, where ego readdresses you away from your dreams, from your health, from your positive thoughts. So I'm going to bless you today, and goodbye.